Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. Happy Memorial Day. I am posting a day early this week because you do have a writing assignment at the end of the week, and I wanted to make sure that you had plenty of time to get that work done. So your schedule this week is based on a 4-day week. You can see there is more work each day because it's a 4-day week. So if you do get a chance to get started early, that is awesome. I just want to make sure you have plenty of time to get all of your work done and get it done in order to enjoy another lovely weekend ahead. Tuesday, we will have instructional class meetings for periods 1, 2, and 4. You're going to continue working on your independent reading assignment, planning to be finished with your book by the end of the week. There's a dramatic elements and structure video lesson on my MCPS that you need to watch, and Mark is done. It'll go through the elements of how to read a script, how to read a play, since that is what you will be reading this week. And then you'll go into Study Sync and complete the intro and read tabs, only those 2 tabs of The Miracle Worker. Wednesday, again, continuing to read, and then watching on my MCPS the Miracle Worker video lesson. The instructor here will review the types of conflict and talk about how to identify that in a play rather than in a narrative. It's a little bit of a different experience, especially since that will focus on what you are going to be working on at the end of the week. It's important that you watch that entire lesson on my MCPS. And again, mark that is done to be able to move on to the next assignment. You'll go back to Study Sync and annotate the text according to the directions and complete the 6 quiz questions. And then go back in and just do a quick reread of Helen Keller, the poem, and the excerpt from Story of My Life that you read last week. Those 2 texts should be in the binder on Study Sync. And that will then, in the afternoon, have, again, an instructional class time for periods 3, 5, and 7 to make sure that you are ready to get to your writing assignment. On Thursday, we will have afternoon drop-in hours. If you have questions while you're working on your writing assignment, you can pop in to Zoom to ask a question, and you will be completing your planning for the Miracle Worker graphic organizer and submitting that. The earlier you submit that, the sooner you'll be able to get that feedback and move on to that final writing assignment. If you come to class on Tuesday and Wednesday, those instructional meetings, we will be working together to fill out that graphic organizer. So you may be a little bit ahead by the time you get to Thursday if you attend the instructional Zoom. You'll be finishing your independent reading book and then completing your final journal, which will be a video response on Flipgrid. The information for that is posted on my MCPS. That is a graded assignment, and that will be preparing you for your final independent reading assignment for that book that you'll be working on next week. On Friday, again, some drop-in afternoon office hours, and you'll be working on putting together that final writing assignment for the week, which will be a graded assignment. And as usual, things are due Friday, deadline Monday by the time I post new assignments for next week. So again, just to review my plan, it's different this week, so it's important that you're checking in on this. You will be having instructional Zoom meetings on Tuesday and Wednesday where we'll be working on preparing for the writing assignment and completing that graphic organizer. And then Thursday and Friday this week will just be drop-in Zoom classes if you have questions and you want to check in. just so you guys are aware, I will be at school packing up my classroom all morning on Thursday. So if you can get your organizer in to me Wednesday night, the sooner you get it in, the quicker and easier I can get you feedback. If you wait until Thursday, you'll have to wait until the afternoon to get that feedback. If you wait until Friday, you will not get feedback before you move into your writing assignment. The writing assignment for this week, the prompt is here. You have read 3 different texts about Helen Keller, a poem, a memoir, and a play. You're going to compare and contrast both the conflict and Helen's response to that conflict in 2 of the texts you have read. You can choose from Helen Keller, you can choose from The Story of My Life, and you can choose from The Miracle Worker. So you have to choose 2 of those to compare and contrast the conflict and Helen's response to that conflict. You need to make sure you're using specific textual evidence. That means direct quotes that show what is the conflict and how Helen responds to that conflict in order to support your response. And remember, we talked about this in the Zoom class this week. This is reviewed in the Miracle Worker lesson, specifically on my MCPS. But conflict does not always mean it's between 2 people. It could be with nature, with society, with a disability, within themselves. So you have to think about what type of conflict you're seeing in these texts you're reading about Helen Keller and comparing and contrasting those conflicts. So again, it's important this week that you move through those lessons as they're structured. Make sure you're only completing the part of the study sync assignments that you're supposed to on each day that you go in. You kind of are back and forth this week. You'll watch the dramatic elements lesson, go look at part of the Miracle Worker. You'll watch the Miracle Worker lesson, go work on part of that study sync assignment. And then you'll work on that graphic organizer and then go back in, write your response, and submit that assignment finally. Please make sure you're doing this in that order and not trying to rush ahead to submit that final writing response without doing everything else this week. Your final journal response for your reading text is going to be on Flipgrid, which many of you have used for various classes thus far. You are going to reflect on the book that you just finished. You're going to identify who is the main character, give your opinion of was the main character's personal story powerful, why or why not. Would you recommend this book to other 6th grade students based on the idea of what is a powerful personal story, and why or why not? If you do have the book, it's always nice to have a visual to hold it up while you talk about it so we can see it. If you're reading an ebook, I know that's not possible for all of you, but it's always nice to have that visual aspect to see the covers and see what text you're talking about. You'll have a 2.5 minute time limit. So this is a quick, make sure you're answering all parts of that question. You do not have to take the entire 2.5 minutes if you're able to answer those questions in less than that. The links to each class's Flipgrid are posted on my MCPS with the assignment, but they're also here in these slides. And another reminder about Pile Power Hour every night at 7 by Mr. Lunn and the other team leaders. Your meeting code and password are here below. I hope you have a great week. I hope to see you on Tuesday and Wednesday for our instructional class time to work on your graphic organizers, and I look forward to reading your responses. Have a great week.